Top Clack. On this episode of Top Clack features myself, man of interest, with my wonderful co-hosts, smiling and bright and always, Brian. And this week we are joined by InputClub's own Andrew. Hello, Andrew. How are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty great. I'm in a hotel room in Missouri, and awesome to be here.
Okay, so you've been on with us once before, not terribly long ago, anyways, but like, can you tell us a little bit about yourself for the people that may have missed that episode or forgot? Can you tell us all who you are and what you do at InputClub?
So I do all the business stuff at InputClub. I coordinate all the photos, do all the video, write everything. If you visit with us on Twitter or on Facebook or on Reddit, you're probably talking to me. And,
so run. Don't talk to him. Run.
And yeah, basically there's just a huge quantity of things when you actually make a product that you have to do. And most of InputClub is engineers that build awesome things and design really cool stuff. And I'm the one guy who's not an engineer and coordinates all the countless other little things.
A lot of back-end stuff that goes on. So last time you were on with us was during the White Fox / Night Fox Kickstarter, if I'm not mistaken. And it was also some pretty big news. You had just sponsored an eSports organization, Denial. Maybe you can give us some updates on how those projects are going and maybe anything else that you guys have been working on since then?
Well, the White Fox prototypes have been ordered, and Night Fox prototypes. We have a bunch of them that have shown up, and I'll be making a Kickstarter update probably tomorrow or the next day, and I'll post some photos on our Facebook page as well of just basically White Foxes and Night Foxes. And yeah, the Kickstarter went super well. It was my first Kickstarter I'd ever run. I've consulted on other people's, but everything's different when you actually do it yourself. You get to see all the silly things. You get to see all the, like, how many people reach out to you via direct message that are either normal people in the community that have, like, questions, concerns, or are curious or want to ask a question, and then, like, the spam people or the marketing people that reach out to you because you have a successful Kickstarter that's been funded and they want to find a way to, like, help you in some way and basically have you give them either a percentage of your campaign or a few $100s. And I must get, like, 80 messages from all these different people that are either PR companies or they want a White Fox. Like, someone from like Linus Tech Tips reached out. Like, all these press people reached out. Like, hey, send us a keyboard. It was really crazy, actually. And yeah, that kind of whirlwind of my life has gotten a little more relaxed after the Kickstarter's closed. But now we actually have the money from the Kickstarter campaign and have to go do something with it, which is produce a bunch of stuff.
Ivan!
Yeah.
Just kidding.
In the past, we always did stuff with Massdrop, and they kind of just handled all this portion. And now we're just doing it directly. And there's
you have to handle all that stuff.
Yeah, now I do it all, and it's going super well. And basically, we haven't really spent anything except to buy prototypes, which aren't terribly expensive. And yeah, everything looks pretty smooth. There are some potential delays that now that we're, like, actually pedal to the metal on things, but we built in some time for those delays. Like, we gave ourselves like a bonus month and a half just to account for fun in building keyboards. And so
I wish everyone did that. Yeah, all the group buy runners that are like, oh, this keyboard's going to take 2 months, and it winds up taking 7. Yeah. They should just be like, this is going to take a year up front.
And then they deliver in 8 months, and everyone's like, you're so fast, oh my goodness.
Look, under-promise, over-deliver.
Yeah. And so everything looks pretty good right now. We can go into it more later of what some of the delays might be, because this is kind of like an intro portion. But yeah, it's like remarkably smooth, and I'm just astonished that everything is going as well as it is, because usually like you have more problems than we've been having, just like fun things you didn't think of. But I guess this is now probably like the 10th or 11th major keyboard launch that we've done, and so a lot of the stupid things that you forget about we kind of already have figured out. Makes things easier.
This just in, if you're more experienced at something, usually you're better at it.
Surprise, who knew?
Today I learned. Okay, so that covers the Night Fox and the White Fox. How about the eSports organization sponsorship? Because that's something I was still pretty keen about, and I talked to Hata a little bit about that in Seattle, but I'd like to hear your thoughts on what's happening, if possible.
It hasn't worked out quite as well as we thought, just because we were kind of too early. Like, eSports really benefits from you being able to just like send all the players keyboards, right? But we're at a Kickstarter. We're like a very small company. We don't have any. We have like 5 White Foxes. So it's not. That's not. We spent a bunch of money, and we're able to send one out to one player. And so we just really haven't gotten any real results from eSports. We've had a lot of people reach out, a lot of people interested in like using them. But yeah, we're probably going to have to pause a bit on a lot of our eSports stuff just because we're not actually able to ship out physical things to people, which is what you have to be able to do.
Turns out that's a big part of it.
Yeah, that's like a huge part of it. And so post-November, December, when we are actually fulfilling the White Fox, and we'll be over-ordering, and we're gearing up right now to set up pre-orders on Kono. Post that, eSports is way easier to do cool stuff with. But right now, it's like, we just, after 3 weeks of like sitting around of like, oh, what should we do? We don't have a keyboard to send to someone. It was like, okay, yeah, this has to go on pause. And so we've kind of paused our relationship with Denial in that capacity. They're great people. They won recently, actually. One of their players, Dr. I believe it's Jiki Ninki, is how you pronounce it, actually won the International for Hearthstone. And so
cool.
Shout out to him. He won like,
wow,
I think almost $30,000. He's awesome. He's really good at Hearthstone.
I used to be very okay at Hearthstone. Okay, so you guys jumped the gun just a little bit then, but
yes.
eSports is definitely not off the table.
No, we're definitely going in to do cool stuff with eSports, but...
Actually, I just learned, sorry to interject for this, but I just learned in Seattle when several of the Massdrop employees were there, Yadbo told me that they actually sponsor Tempo Storm.
Yep.
A Hearthstone esports organization. I had no idea, and that really surprised me.
Bizarre coincidence, they did it the same day we did.
Oh, okay, so it is relatively new, all things considered, then.
June 20th. Like, we announced ours, they announced theirs. This team they sponsored is way, way bigger. Like,
oh, yeah.
Like, they're the source of all Hearthstone decks. And, like, they're a team that just happens to be around a major Hearthstone deck builder that everyone on the internet uses.
Yeah,
so,
Raynad.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yadbo was like, yeah, Raynad took me out to lunch. I was like, is he actually an asshole in person, too? Because he's kind of known for his, like, attitude.
Yeah.
But, like, you know, a lot of people, he's still one of the most popular streamers for Hearthstone. I thought that was really interesting. Anyways, so what other kind of things are going on with InputClub right now?
Let's see. So production of both the K-Type and the White Fox are like huge priorities right now because, I mean, that's what we're working on. The group buy for the K-Type, just as a quick, like, so that people understand in detail, because it's kind of weird. We are actually not super involved at this juncture with K-Type related stuff. It's mostly in Massdrop's hands. And the same was true for the Infinity Ergodox, which I believe they've started fulfilling. Kind of when we work with Massdrop, as soon as we do the designs and prototype and kind of approve a thing, it's all them. And they aren't super great about communication, actually. And so we know, we find our stuff out from reading about it the same as you most of the time, which is unfortunate, and that's not really how it should be, and that's part of why we're in the situation we are with the White Fox, where we're doing it ourselves, because then we can kind of like fully take ownership of the product and make sure that we're doing every step of the way. I think before the call, yeah, Brian, I was telling you that we have like extensive discussions about serious attention to detail on the product. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So, was there anything secret you guys wanted to bring up, or are we saving that for later?
We have an announcement. I don't know if you're bringing it up now or later, or...
Huey, you set it up, and I'll follow in.
Okay. This is no pressure. So, you guys know about those really cool thermostat? They're smart thermostats you can get for your house, made by that really cool tech company.
Yeah, what's that company called?
I think that company is called Nest. And why are they a cool company, Andrew? Other than their cool thermostats and cameras.
They're hosting a fall keyboard meetup. It's going to be in the month of November, so we don't have a lot of details beyond that. But Huey and I and Jacob are organizing this and putting it together. Jacob is Hata and works with me at InputClub, and he's been doing keyboard meetups. This is like probably the 19th or 20th one he'll have done in the Bay Area for quite a while. And this is definitely going to be the biggest and coolest one. And we got Google and Nest as a person who was confirmed as of yesterday. That
soft confirmed yesterday, hard confirmed like hours ago.
Yeah, and so it's like definite cause for celebration. This is going to be a really cool, the coolest meetup ever, because Huey's really good at meetups, Jacob's really good at meetups, and I'm pretty good at meetups. So
with like 2.8x meetup talent.
Yeah, like 2.8x for sure. So it's going to be a really cool one. There's going to be a lot of people there. The location is excellent. And yeah, it's just going to, we'll be saving some cool secret announcements to take place at the meetup that you're just going to have to guess at, because I'm not giving you any details. And also, there's going to be cool people doing presentations, which is also unconfirmed as to who's doing that. But there will be cool people doing cool talks and shows of how keyboard things happen. And yeah, there's also, I've got one other addendum to this announcement, which is on the InputClub website, we have a new section at the bottom that is for online discussions. Basically, I put a permanent link to our Discord channel and our IRC channel, depending on which text format you like better. Discord's a little easier. IRC is more hacker and awesome. You get to choose. And Discord has voice chat, so and video and picture support, which makes it cooler. But right below the Discord and IRC is a link to our ongoing meetup mailing list. And there's currently about 350 people on it. It's one of our smaller mailing lists at InputClub. But basically, whenever we're planning a cool Bay Area meetup, this is where we post additional information. So if you want additional information, join this. At some point, Huey and I will be putting together an RSVP list where you can actually like confirm that you're going. And I just want to be clear, that is not what this thing is at the bottom of this page. This is basically just an email list where you'll eventually get that RSVP email. And yeah, so right now this is the early first announcement. You guys got to hear it first on Top Clack, which, by the way, we had a conversation earlier, Huey. This is actually like the biggest deal in video and keyboards. Is that correct? I believe it is.
Thank you. Thank you. That means a lot to us. I mean, I guess it depends on you define biggest. People do take our opinions, I'd say, a bit more than some of the
It depends on the format. I think you could argue that one-up keyboards, Ski with Pete,
yeah,
he probably gets more viewers overall than us, but he doesn't do a keyboard show like this. He just builds keyboards and stuff. So We're kind of like the only one of this kind, if I'm not mistaken. So by default, we're the biggest.
There you go.
So for everyone who needs a little bit more information on the meetup, it's going to happen November 11th at, we're hoping, 10 a.m. until 5 p.m. There will be lunch there because, unlike the Seattle meetups who don't believe in having food midday, I do. I'm human. I need lunch. So what we'll have is still to be determined, but if you've gone to any of my previous meetups in the past, you know I'm always getting food for everyone. Yeah, November 11th. I'm looking forward to it. Brian's gonna be there, right?
I will be there. My ticket has been paid for. I'm pretty sure I have a hotel and already booked and probably a rental car. So
I'm actually, I don't know if you have a hotel yet. If you don't, Airbnb possibly, Ryan, because I'm going to be Airbnb-ing in the area. Because my house right here is 3 hours from the meetup. So I'd prefer to just go there and just chill with everyone who's flying in and everything.
For a night, yeah, that makes sense.
If you guys also do join the Discord, we can also make plans for, things to do before, after, etc. You guys can meet up and Airbnbs are flying in, etc. and etc.
Yeah, I know for the Seattle meetup, I was getting asked all the time. People were like, I don't have a place to stay, I'm just like, there's lots of people looking for Airbnbs. You just gotta you gotta find them. Like, people are doing that, and all these people are asking me. I'm like, just pair up with each other, get an Airbnb. It's way cheaper.
It's just like 8th grade geology. Just get together in your little groups and do your assignment together.
You can get a place that has like 2 beds, and there's like 12 of you. So you just kind of like
bathtubs are comfortable with enough pillows.
Yeah.
It's a sleepover.
But if you want even more information, watch out for the mailing list. Email will be coming out soon, as well as an official RMK posts. That will be done by me probably for the meetup with all the other pertinent information as it comes. So stay tuned, everyone.
I'm curious if we could get this bigger than the Seattle meetup in terms of head count.
Oh, for sure. It's definitely bigger.
You think we're getting like 300 plus here?
250 plus is my safe number.
Yeah, okay. Jacob and I have put on meetups in the Bay Area where we didn't even advertise it anywhere. We just sent it to the email list, and 100 people showed up. So I can only imagine if we put any degree of effort into making it publicly known that this is going on, what is going to happen. And there may wind up being some cap of people that can attend, which, while it will be a large cap, that does make it exclusive.
Also, this is
exclusivity.
Exclusivity is great. Also, if you're in chat and you live in the area and for some reason you want to help and volunteer, PM me later. I am putting together a volunteer list. That'll be something for later, though, because Andrew, Hata, and myself are only 3 members, and putting together a meetup for so many people does take a lot of work, and we'd always appreciate any help we could get.
Yes.
Yes.
So,
all right, good stuff. Yes, and I will be there, so everyone has to go.
So I have a small story that segues into what we're going to talk about next.
Okay.
Driving to work. I'm sure you guys might have this issue every night. You drive to work, and there's this annoying...
That is an issue, yeah.
Annoying intersection where, you think, why is this stupidly designed this way? If someone just took the effort, you could change it and be way more efficient. And I thought, yeah, if I was a dictator, the intersection right next to where I work would have an extra lane, because there's space for one. They just have a dirt field there instead, right? So if I was a dictator, that's what I would do. Then I would think, wait a second. If I was a dictator, what keyboard would I force everyone to buy, at least as a baseline keyboard? You have to have this keyboard or better. And I want to bring that up because what would anyone else choose? For me, if I was a dictator, everyone would have a minimum of a quickfire rapid or better. That's all. Because that was my first starting keyboard, and that is near and dear to me, and I think it's a great quality for $60.
All right. So what production keyboard would you mandate the population own?
It has to be a production keyboard.
Because otherwise my answer would be too easy.
See, I was thinking the White Fox, too.
It's a production keyboard.
It's not actually in production yet.
It's not in production, is the only issue.
I'm the one who has to approve the production line along with Mateo and the rest of the team. I haven't given the thumbs up, so I can't be like, yeah, that's in production. Like, no.
Maybe this is too easy. Real force, 55 gram.
See, I was thinking, like, if everyone has to get it, I can't, like, make everyone get something super expensive.
But you're the dictator.
I'm the dictator. That's true. I'm El
You're the source of all
Presidente.
money.
What was that, Andrew?
You're the source of all money if you're the dictator in a country, so it's like really, it's kind of your money anyways, and you're probably going to have to like arrange this mass purchase of them, the greatest group buy of all time, the North Korean keyboard acquisition.
The Hueyistan meetup and group buy. Oh man, that'd be great. But how? Oh man.
What do people in the chat think? Oh, there's actually quite a few people in the chat.
Pilkos, Leopold's great
Pilko or
choices.
Death,
A poker.
Poker, Ducky Pad. What?
Everyone needs
Let
a
people be
numpad.
weak.
Leopold FC660. That's a good choice.
But the C or the M version, or just any C660
I
is
mean,
allowed.
as far as production boards go, those are both like fairly high quality.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, as our Philco. And I mean, the Poker 3 isn't too bad either.
I feel like it has to be a full-size keyboard. Like
Yeah,
you
probably.
can't mandate the entire population own anything other than a full-size keyboard because there's a huge subset of people that work in finance that actually like need a number pad.
That's true.
All right, so final answer: either a full-size Real Force or the FC 980C from Leopold.
Ooh, 980C, only the
So that-
beige one.
Yes, the beige one. You get your Topra, you got your steel plate. Leopold has nice stock caps. You get your number pad, 1800 layout. Yeah, DigiSax agrees with me.
But
FC90.
for me,
yeah.
not the M. My dictatorship, we only go high end. Only the C.
Yeah.
Only the Topra.
Topra or bust.
So I'll give a shout out to Wayman because he's hosted meetups in the past and is an
Yes.
overall awesome dude. And he put together the Code keyboard, which is one of like the first keyboards that made it important to have Helvetica font. And so few keyboards actually have like a nice lettering, and it's got backlit legends. So if I were to force anyone to make a production keyboard, I think a Code full size is like kind of a pretty good production gold standard for one that would make sense in literally every context. And money's fake in this situation anyway
That's
because I'm a dictator. So shout out to WASD because they make dope keyboards.
Mango Jesus says Kira.
Not production.
Not production.
I
Yes.
haven't even made a prototype yet. Dude, okay. Indicator lights on the edge of a case are really hard to do. So I'll just say that. That's like that's one of those magical things that shows up in renders super well and real life not so well. So we're like super exploring, going through every single possible option on it right now. But Kira is like most of it. It's probably 95% ready to go, and it's definitely the next big thing. But gosh, those little things are the hardest, and we wouldn't be like a cool keyboard company if we didn't put all the work into doing cool little things. So we're doing it. If we can't for whatever reason, in the interest of like getting Kira ready this year, then that is what it is. But like we're gonna really give it a good go.
Yeah, you guys are doing a lot of things right now, so I don't think anybody's gonna fault you for any kind of timeline there.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
Yeah.
All right, Huey. What's our next discussion
so
topic?
something else I want to talk about. So all the time we talk about nice custom keyboards, nice custom keycaps, whether it's an interest check, it's a group buy, and etc. Right? But we always say this is great, this looks that. But you know, at the end of the day, it's about the finished product. So the nice keycaps you got, on the nice switches you got, on the nice plate, on the nice PCB, on the nice case, the whole package, right? We always comment on the small bits, but what well, what makes the whole package of a keyboard look great? What makes a custom keyboard finished with keycaps beautiful? Like, in my opinion, my Duck Viper, I think, is a beautiful keyboard with the nice acrylic strips, with the fact that the top lip is bigger, so it has this really cool depth effect with the lights, the cutout, and the bottom. I mean, for me, this is a beautiful keyboard with the keycaps included. So, for you guys, for everyone, what makes a beautiful keyboard for you? The whole package being beautiful.
Well, as most people probably know, Huey and I have pretty much the same taste, so my answer is going to be fairly similar. I like a lot of metal. I like it high profile. I like caps that aren't too loud in terms of like colorway. So people know I love my neutral colored cases like silver, and I like key sets like 9009, classic beige, stuff like that. That's kind of my go-to in terms of aesthetic. I really like that like classic look where it's kind of like a fusion between classic and modern. I'm a really big proprietor of that. A lot of my keyboards look like that, and I'm a big fan of that. But also something I don't actually talk about a lot, but something I really do like, and I know a lot of people are guilty of this too, but I really like exclusivity. I like the fact that my X60 is like limited to like 100 units or whatever. I like the fact that my Fiel is limited to like 60 units or whatever. I like being cool enough to own a keyboard that limited.
So hipster, Brian?
I
know, I'm the same way.
It's a cool feeling, and I get it. And a lot of people in the artisan world are like that too, and that's why so many artisans are so expensive and have such high trade values, because they're so limited. But keyboards are like that as well, and that's something that I do, even though I don't talk about it a lot. I do really appreciate super limited keyboards, especially when it says it on the keyboard. Like the Fiel, I'm 005 out of 50 or whatever, and it's like, oh, that's so cool. And on the X60, it says limited to 100 cases. Oh, that's also so cool. I don't know. I'm a big fan of that. So, but other than that, yeah, just classic colorways, lots of metal. I like a good weight on my keyboard. I like it thick. What about you, Andrew?
I'm just like hearing a hint. I'm like, oh, I should probably make things like exclusive, or at least offer an exclusive version.
Come on. Yeah, give me this 1 out of 50 InputClub keyboard that I have to have.
We'll have to come up with something fun. There are plans to do that, by the way, that are like not just exclusive, because like false exclusivity is when you're making something that you could make a lot of, but you choose to make like 100 or 200 of. I don't know if you know this, but Jacob has been like hoarding rare switches in large batches for many years.
A long time, yeah.
That makes sense.
And has like these linear Alps from the 80s that are one of the nicest things I've ever felt to type on, that come with the keycaps. But they're from the 80s. They're not going to get made again, that's for sure. And yeah, we're absolutely going to make a super dope keyboard that uses switches and caps from the 1980s. And it's going to be truly exclusive because we can't go back to the 1980s and make more of these things. And so the keyboard itself will be like a thing that goes into production or whatever, and you'll be able to get other versions of it. But the exclusive version, well, that will be very exclusive. Yeah. So we'll probably bring one of them, just because I have one and I know he has one, to the meetup in November, so people can play with it, and you'll kind of like see why we think it's so cool. And the keycaps are they're like cooler than SA High Pro keycaps, right? And they're double shot, and they've never been typed on, and they're from 1980s. So, and they're like dark gray on white, I believe, with white lettering. So they just look really nice. And yeah,
you got me really curious now.
Right?
I need to see.
I'll see if I can find a picture and post it later. I'm not going to go dig it right now, but
cool.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet, and you'll see it at the meetup too. So if you guys are intrigued by any of what I'm talking about, you should definitely be there in November.
Show up.
Now,
be there and be square.
Speaking of exclusive, Brian, I really think we should try, at least in the future, if we get like another exclusive keyboard where it's like, X out of 50 or X out of 100, if we could literally just put like top clack out of 50.
Yeah. I'll do that for you with fun. That should be fun.
Don't tease me here, Andrew.
That's not a tease. That's the thing that can be done. So, well, I got to get stuff in production, but give me some time.
That sounds good. Oof.
Yeah, the actual question of what makes a keyboard beautiful.
Yes.
That's such like a powerful question too, right?
Very subjective, I mean, rather.
Yeah, like I do. Like we work with designers, right? And we also make our own designs at InputClub. Like the Infinity Ergodox is like a variant on an existing one, but that whole aesthetic was developed by Overkill, which is Brandon Musine in-house, of like the bulge with the LCD and like the kind of distinct look. And he's also the designer on the K-Type, and just that's an in-house product. We just came up with it and rolled with it. But like the White Fox, and is done with Mateo, of course, and we've done a version of the IC60 with Mito, who's a really good designer. We did kind of an interesting keycap set. It was very like fast and cool looking. It was the GMK 3-run set for it. Yeah. But like in terms of, we went through a couple different keycap sets on the thought for that, including a previous one that was kind of like a precursor to Canvas, which he has up right now, and we decided not to do it for a couple reasons. And Canvas is like super popular, so yeah, I'm glad that it kind of went somewhere, and 3-run was more experimental, and we just wanted to see what would look cool. In terms of beauty, like, so contrast is super, super important, and I'm a contrast geek when it comes to like everything. I, in my normal job, do a lot of print marketing and like marketing to people that are really old. And I see all these design aesthetics that are for websites and for things that involve these weird pictures, and everyone's seen this because every startup does this. But the first thing when you go to their website is you get this picture of like people smiling or a computer, and there's like white in it, and then the text is all white. And it like breaks up the text, and you like can't really see what it says. It's just stupid. And I hate bad contrast. And so whenever we design anything, we find it like super important to incorporate contrast and like readability and legibility, both in terms of the colors chosen, the legends, and like just everything. That like there's clear distinction on each aspect of the thing, and like it has its own identity as a feature. So like when building the K-Type, right, like which I think is an objectively pretty beautiful design, there are a whole bunch of things that are like very specifically done to make it beautiful in its way. It's like not high profile. Some people don't like that, but the part of the reason it's flat is because there's RGB switches, and so we wanted it to like lens out the most, and because the core feature is the RGB lights. And so I really feel like embracing the things that, like accenting the cool parts of a keyboard and like really focusing on them and making sure that they're special is something that makes a lot of customs and just things overall really awesome. So on the White Fox, for example, the arrow keys are a key. It's a 65% keyboard, right? The arrow keys are the key thing that's there in a compact keyboard that just isn't present in most other compact keyboards. That's the thing. So you make the arrow keys blue and you separate them away a little bit, which is part of Mateo's design, just so that your fingers can find it when you're not like looking at your hands. And like all of a sudden, this becomes this distinctive visual thing and physical thing on the keyboard, and you really notice the arrow keys, and you're like, oh, that's like a really small compact keyboard. That's beautiful. And my eyes are drawn to the part that is there that's different from other compact keyboards. And then the escape is blue also to like round things out and make it more visually appealing. But the drawing the eye to a distinction or to like a core feature is just it's really cool. And with other keyboards, not just the ones that we make, like you see these cases. Like I think there's this one super highly voted photo that's on Reddit that has this wood paneled case with just a blue and black like cyan keycap, and just the brown with cyan keys with like a really cool depth of field. It's one of the most beautiful pictures I've ever seen, and I don't know how the guy took it. It's a really hard photo to replicate because I've tried and I can't.
I bet it's like one of two people that posted it too.
Yeah,
it's either Will26 or Citizen Voyager, and they're like the premier photographers of like RMK right now.
And I even bought a fancy lens to go take cool photos, and I can't. I'm just not that good, so it is whatever. But like, they really drew your eye to the fact that there was wood here, and they really accented it, and they just made it all about the wood covering on the case, and made sure that you could see that. And you can't help but think that such a thing is beautiful when you're drawn in that way, and like they make that such an obvious feature.
Is it this picture that Invisibility just put in the Twitch chat? I'm gonna go ahead and guess it is.
Yeah,
I know
that's it. That's it.
Yep,
this is a Will26. Yeah, this is a Will26 original.
Like,
and yes,
that's one of the most beautiful keyboard photos of all time.
Yep.
Oh
that's amazing. What are those accent keys from?
Skydolch accents that originally sold separately after round 1.
Oh wow, okay. That's pretty classic then. I've never actually seen the Skydolch accents. So that's very cool.
It just, I don't know. Like I look at something like that and I feel like there's no better example when you're talking about like what makes a really fancy custom keyboard beautiful. If you look at this, you're like, oh, that's what makes it beautiful.
Yeah. And a lot of it really is like the skill with photography, because there are a lot of nice keyboards that people own on RMK and they take pictures of them, and like people like me, like I own a lot of nice keyboards, I can't take pictures. So when I take a picture of one of my keyboards and I post it, I'm just like, this looks terrible. And like it usually doesn't do like that well, like nothing like what this guy does. But like this guy can post like a picture of dirt, and it's like instantly the top post, because like his skill with the camera is just so much higher than mine. Yeah. And like a lot of it's just interesting to see, because people upvote for picture quality more than they do for the boards themselves.
Yes.
That's completely how RMK works.
I post a lot of my pictures. My pictures aren't great by any means. They don't do terribly well, but I usually get more comments about the board than like upvotes saying it's a good picture. Because at least when I post, at least people like talking about my boards. But it's just like, it's okay,
because
Huey, but tell me more about the insides.
Yeah, because every time like Will26 or Citizen Voyager posts a picture, top post for like a day, every single time. 3,000
to 5,000 upvotes.
Yeah. Every time, like never. It doesn't even matter what the keyboard is. Like this keyboard, this isn't even a super high-end keyboard. This is like a hydro dipped, like it's like a hydro dipped Novatouch or Quickfire Rapid, one of the two, and it just has like some GMK caps on it.
Beautiful.
But the picture is so good, and he did such a good job with this contrast.
Right, and that's the whole thing of like you see the blue, the cyan blue on the wood, and you're just like, look at that. That is really cool. And I actually posted my Instagram and chat for Input Club because I've been practicing keyboard photography, and so I did my shameless plug. I've taken all the last and most recent photos myself, and I wasn't like a great photographer. I mostly take pictures of sandwiches, but I've added keyboards to my repertoire, and yeah, I'm curious what people think.
Wait. Where can I find the sandwiches?
That's on my personal one, and I also operate onesandwich.com, which is a website devoted to sandwiches. There's some cool recipes there.
We're going to talk about this after the show.
I take my sandwiches very seriously.
Because clearly you like sandwiches, and I like sandwiches.
I think we all like sandwiches.
And I like seeing pictures of sandwiches, so this conversation's not over.
Just for fun, I have an ongoing Google spreadsheet that I maintain of genuinely interesting sandwiches, and I'm posting it in chat because they're genuinely interesting.
Oh my god.
So if you like sandwiches, you should read them. There's a lot of them there.
This is awesome. Is this something that you make the sandwiches, or like you've had these at other places?
I've either had them or I've read about them from historical sandwich books, or they've been introduced to me by people that know that I like sandwiches.
Gotcha. Oh wow, a lot of these are from the same place.
I try to do a good job of sourcing. Florence Cowles is this ridiculous lady who's like a Martha Stewart of sandwiches in the 1900s and published all these books that just go over thousands and thousands of them. She's basically like if Jacob were a woman of keyboards in the 1900s, but with sandwiches.
Awesome. I love that comparison because now I understand.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense.
All right.
Okay.
Well, without further ado, let's move on.
Let's
to
keep going.
News segment. Let's keep talking about sandwiches. Huey's going to take us into the news, and we're gonna talk about news for just a little bit. And if you have questions, make sure to save those for later when we do our Q&A, like we always do.
And now we must do the news, and let's hope this works. This works. So, starting off on the news, over our friends at KBDFans have a new die sub set, the all-over die sub green train PVT set. Got some yellow on green for the alphas, and we got some green on gray for the mods with some accents here and there, including some train keys for novelties, which are nice.
I think it looks pretty cool. One of the things that makes this set really interesting is they're using reverse die sub.
Yes.
So that's like the first major implementation of this that we've really seen in the enthusiast community, and that's always really cool.
So Brian, for some of the viewers who may not be in the know, what is reverse die sub?
Okay, so with normal die sub, you have your base cap, and then you dye another color onto it. So with normal die sub, you can only dye darker colors onto lighter colors, which is why all of your caps are lighter colors than the alphas when you have PBT caps. But with reverse die sub, it's actually the opposite. It's instead of the cap with the legend being die subbed, it's the legend, and then they die sub the rest of the cap. So basically the exact opposite process, but apparently it's a lot more expensive. I'm not a professional at this, but I've been told it's a lot more expensive to actually do. So, which is part of the reasons why we don't really see it. We've had vendors in the past, within the last year or two, that have kind of attempted stuff like this, but it never really works out. So, definitely glad to see KBDFans pushing the envelope here a little bit.
Definitely.
The set looks beautiful. Those, if you look at the legends really close up, those are crisp. Those might as well be double shot.
So, continuing on what Brian was saying about the reverse die sub. So for these keycaps, for example, is actually a yellow PBT keycap, and then everything else they dye the green on top of the yellow. So they basically have like a stencil on top of like that Q, for example, and everything around it is dyed but that legend. So that legend is the original keycap color, and everything else is dyed. Crazy. Are these actual keycaps or renders? These look like I can't tell. These look amazing.
These are not renders. There's dust on some of the stuff. Like these aren't renders. These have to be real. IMO. Pretty positive.
I see some.
And
dust,
that's like a Varmillo.
Maybe it's like it's just such high quality like meta renders, Brian. It's like let's put dust in our renders. No.
Nah, dude. The right shift is crooked. If it's a render, no keys are ever crooked.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see it now.
But they could have rendered on the legends, the reverse die sub legends.
That's true.
I don't think they did, but you could have.
Yeah, fair enough.
I can't tell.
That might be a step farther than I think KBDFans are willing to take to sell a set.
Yeah, I don't know what their render prowess is personally.
I disagree. I correct myself. There's no way these are renders. I'm looking at the E and the zoom up on QWERTY, and there's like a little bit of green on the middle part of the E.
I see it.
Yeah.
And like, why would you do that? That's, as you said, that's not a thing that would happen.
Yeah. The A has an imperfection like that too. So yeah, these should just be very high quality pictures.
Yeah,
and that's cool because that's always better to see than renders.
Yeah.
So $110 for group buy price. Post group buy price, it will raise to $119. So $9 jump.
Quite a bit of compatibility here.
Yeah, you also have 2 shifts
man.
for FC660 people.
One thing that's immediately triggering me so hard is that the way they do their rows is the opposite from every other
4,
person.
3, 2, 1 to 1, 2. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my god, that is trippy.
We ran into that actually with the White Fox production. Apparently everyone in China does it the opposite from how we do it too. And so you just kind of have to like pick one, right?
Oh my goodness. They have the big ass enter key.
Yes, enter.
The big ass enter key. Not the ISO enter key, which is already like an obese enter key, which is weird considering Europeans think we're obese. But
what board uses a 1.75U enter?
Someone who's wrong. Maybe some like, I don't know, some tiny 60% that has arrows and other weird doodads that they just change everything to be. I mean,
someone in the chat.
It's a
Someone tell me
1.25 tab as well.
1.25 tab and 1.75 enter. Maybe like a minivan? Is that a thing? I don't know.
Very
that's
obscure
strange.
support for them to have, but maybe they do it because the NUI has the 40% with the staggered layout. So like, let's support our own boards, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's the only thing I can think of because they have their NUI, not NIU.
That wouldn't use 1.75
NIU.
caps though.
It could.
It's all 1U.
No.
Or you use
remember,
like a 2U.
No, the NIU it doesn't have a staggered. The PCB has a staggered option.
Oh.
Right.
Yeah, but the plate does not.
Yeah. They'll probably offer a staggered
Okay.
plate in the future, considering the PCB.
Yeah. Anyways, the compatibility looks pretty darn good here. It looks pretty comparable to a GMK set, if not better.
Missing
maybe?
75%. Let's see. It does have Sangan. Does have 1800. It looks all right. I mean, for me, it'd be fine. It has HHKB, so I'd be happy with it.
Yeah, the color is not necessarily for me, but it's unlike a lot of other sets, which I like, because I do like originality there.
Mm-hmm.
I'd love to get a set of these just to see what they look like in person.
Yeah.
Particularly that reverse dye sub, since we haven't really seen that ever. So that'd be cool to check out. What do we got next, Huey?
Carbon fiber Ergodox cases. They are also offered now on KBDFans. They call it the Ergodone carbon fiber case, or Ergo D1.
Done.
It's
Ergod one.
Ergod one.
There we
But
go.
it
That's
is carbon fiber.
what I'm-
It's for yeah.
I mean, it's just a carbon fiber skeleton. What's up with this cover in the top left of the left-hand one? What is that?
I think that's for the microcontroller cover, because remember they're doing a low-profile case instead of the normal like high-profile cases. So I think it'd be exposed. I don't know, to be honest.
Well, so there's a Teensy or the I2C chip that needs to be there, right?
Yeah, it's definitely looking like a controller. Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah, I see it. It's a top housing, skeleton housing as well. If you scroll down, you can see a picture where you can see the microcontroller peeking out, just the tip peeking out from the side.
just the tip. That's the tip. All right, so $59 gets you the top and the bottom. Wait a minute. The top portion is carbon fiber.
The bottom is glass fiber.
Fiberglass?
I guess
Is
so.
is
Yeah.
glass fiber the way
Chinese people say
the
fiberglass?
Chinese would write fiberglass in English?
I assume so. And you also get
That's kind of interesting that it's different material.
aluminum
but okay.
matte, which it looks actually just like your feet stuff.
Huh. And then you get the feet, and you get the washers.
The hardware for assembly.
Okay, so pretty basic stuff. $59 seems a little expensive, IMO, but not terrible.
I think it looks pretty. Even though it's low profile, I still think it looks nice and sleek.
True.
It's carbon fiber. Carbon's cool. I used to bike a lot, so I know carbon can get pricey for no reason.
There's usually a reason. Like, carbon fiber is not an easy thing to work with.
No, it's not.
And there's different tiers of it. Like, not all carbon fiber is created equal. There's structural carbon fiber, and there's, like, visual carbon fiber. And structural is, like, the ones that they make bikes out of, are usually way more expensive. And visual, they, like, kind of... It's almost like hydro dipping. That's the closest comparison I can think of. Brandon can speak to more detail on how it works, but yeah, it's not. There's like, it's very important to understand if you love carbon fiber and love objects with properties, which I love objects with properties, and carbon fiber has lightness and like rigidity as two great properties. That it's not all the same, and that's all. It's kind of like how not all ABS is the same and not all PBT is the same. Like,
yes,
there's huge variations.
Yeah, a lot of people think that like all ABS caps are created equally, but oh no, my friend.
Let me tell you a little bit about my friend GMK here.
Yeah, and like, just think about it this way. So Lego is ABS, and so are those yellow construction helmets that can take like a piano hitting you in the head. Like, you've seen Ripster or other people hit an ABS keycap with a hammer, and it breaks.
You just have the hammer test, too, which is just a weird way to test a keycap.
Yeah, but, like, that helmet can take a piano. That's just... And I understand force, and there's a lot of different things that are involved in that, but, like, there are different things you can do to make plastic better or worse. It's just the core thesis of the argument.
To everyone in chat, you will still die if a piano hits you on the head and you have that yellow hat. We're just saying the helmet will be better than you in that regard. That's all we're saying. I need to clarify that.
Yeah. That is true.
The helmet, inanimate object, you, not so much.
Well, arguably, you'll be just as inanimate afterwards.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough.
But that is the Ergodone carbon fiber case for the Ergodox. So if you're looking to build a cool, sleek Ergodox in the future, maybe you can consider this as your case. Now let's flip back over. Ooh, yes, round 2 has been announced for DSA Royal Navy. Announced to start.
You skipped something.
I did skip something?
Yep.
Oh, my bad. I will go back then.
We can talk about Navy first, though.
We'll talk about Navy first. I already have it open. Which is, it starts October 2017, because people in the UK write dates correctly.
Unlike us savages.
I mean, it makes sense. You start with a smaller unit, and you go to the bigger unit. But I digress. This is Royal Navy. I think it did pretty well, right? For round 1. The people liked it.
It did fairly well.
I think it suffered a little bit on some compatibility, if I remember correctly. But, I mean, just round 2. I'm sure they can get through all of that. There's a vote on the page as well for which arrows we want to use. They're fancy arrows or text arrows, which flag, or a not novelty, and any other changes if you want to submit, requests for any other changes to mechsupply.co.uk.
Yeah. Oh man, I wonder if again they're gonna have this kind of legend and consistency with the novelty sale enter right there. The text on that particular key is significantly bigger than the text on the other keys.
Yes.
By a pretty big margin, and it makes it look kind of funky. I like the set overall.
It's like someone yelling "sale" at you, versus like other
it's
keys.
It's like that song.
Sale.
Yeah.
Is it that one?
AWOL by AWOL Nation.
Yeah. That's a perfect key.
Maybe that's what they were going for. If so, then color me impressed. But But anyways, yes, round 2 starts the 1st of October of this year, so that'll be cool to see. I missed it on the first run, but I actually do want to pick it up, so I'll be getting in on that.
Is that because you live near the water?
No, it's like AWOL Nation.
Okay, that works too.
Yeah, everyone has a reason.
Actually, I like, stupidly enough, I really like the particular white that they use in this set. I think it's a really good contrast to the other colors, and I think it's an awesome contrast with a white case itself. So, what was it the Bullet NL?
The 40%, other 40%?
That was,
high pro?
That was like a high pro 40%
yeah.
ortho case.
It was basically like my 40% was basically like my XT40, just a little bit beefier. That was the Bullet.
Yeah, so there was a white version of that, and I think it had like DSA Hana on it, and I was like, man, that looks awesome. But you know what else would look awesome? Probably Royal Navy. So originally I had planned on getting that plus Royal Navy, but then I realized I don't ever have money, so I didn't.
I wonder if there's gonna
definitely.
I hope there's a US proxy.
That's a good point. There probably will be.
I hope so.
I mean, there's lots of options nowadays. Like, most vendors are willing to proxy. Anyways. Royal Navy 2, round 2 coming. Tell us about this 3D printed Switch opener.
Yeah, so over at cablecarddesigns.co.uk, they've made this 3D printed Switch opener, which I guess if you live in Europe, this is a cheaper option than getting the Switch openers from mk.com, which are only like $5, but like with shipping to Europe, they're like $1 million.
Yeah, in the US, they're $7 shipped.
Or $7.
Seven plus free shipping.
Barely any shipping. But this is a 3D printed Switch opener, so I'm guessing it just put the Switch in and you can just pull it apart because it gets the tabs for you. It's cheap. £350.
It's £350.
£350 on.
I wonder if that was intentional.
I
hope so.
It better be. Cable Card Designs.
Who runs this store? That'll be the real answer.
But if you're in Europe, or just not in the US, this is probably a better bet for shipping than the Switch opener.
Although, I don't know, it doesn't look like it, but one of the main draws about the one from mechanicalkeyboards.com is you can use it to open switches that are already in a plate.
Yes.
Provided your plate provides that functionality as well, which most of them do these days. But this one doesn't look like that. This one looks like you have to open it from the bottom using this tool. So not really a comparable tool, considering they kind of have different use cases.
Yeah,
but
it does say that this 3D printed Switch is designed to make it easier to open switches for modding before soldering them into a board. So
yeah, and obviously the main draw for the MK.com tool is you open them while they're in the board. Otherwise, you can just use like a pair of tweezers or something, because it's really not that hard to open a switch without the tool when it's outside of the board. But cool nonetheless. I guess it depends on the switch, but here we're talking about just like MX style switches. It's really not. It's not that hard.
Yeah.
If you have like a pair of fine tip tweezers, it's really not that hard to open an MX switch when it's outside of the build itself. But either way, it's pretty cheap. Obviously, $350. Can't really complain about that. Probably worth trying out if you want to. If for whatever reason you're just struggling really hard to open switches outside of the board, then pick one of these up, maybe.
Let's move on. Brian, what's up with Novelkeys now?
Yeah, so Novelkeys. Hold on, wait. I'm like destroying the dock. I'm sorry. Okay, so Novelkeys has just recently started stocking what they're calling common Kailh switches, which are the more traditional clones of red, black, blue, and brown. So these are sold at a bit lower of a price point than something like the box switches, the Kailh Speed switches, the Kailh Pro switches. So you get a little bit better price, and they're a little bit more of a direct clone. I do have samples of all of these, and they are all pretty good for the price. Yeah, and they obviously have that low price point that more so competes with Gateron, and yeah, they're pretty nice. They're not fancy like the box switches or like the speed switches. They don't have any of those crazy features going on. These are a lot more of your bare bones direct clones of Cherry and Gateron. So if you're looking for something a bit more normal, the common blacks are like, the spring is really, really awesome to me, and I will definitely be doing a board with those in the near future. So definitely check these out. It's pretty cool. Novelkeys, one of my favorite new vendors. Definitely support them.
Same. I
like
them
too. They're awesome.
Yeah, and he's kind of right now in the community. He's like the go-to guy for all these Kailh switches because he has that direct contact with Kailh. They talk all the time, and he stocks all these products that nobody else is. So, you know, you got your box heavies, which are exclusive to him. The Kailh Pro line, I believe, is also exclusive to him. The Speed Heavy line is exclusive to him, and I think he's right now the only one carrying these common switches too. So he's like the Kailh guy right now, and I think he also sells all the new Otemu switches as well.
Yep.
So really, really making a name for himself.
Yeah.
The variety
great
of
place to get switches. Only bad news is he will be out of town from tomorrow till September 3rd. So if you want some switches, you get a little bit of extra waiting.
Just a little bit, but yeah, I definitely check these out. The common switches are pretty good. And actually, what I've basically found is the common brown is almost identical to the Kailh Pro purple. Almost identical. They feel very, very, very similar. So if you were thinking about getting the Kailh purple, but you want to save like 3 or 5 cents a switch or whatever it is, then the common brown is pretty good alternative.
That's a good to hear. So check out Novelkey, guys. You want some Kailh common switches.
And just a +1 for him, like when we're prototyping or buying switches for testing, we definitely buy them from them. Like, we've received switches from Novelkeys with amazing customer support and customer service, and
yeah. He came to the Seattle meetup, and I talked to him quite a bit, and he is really an A+ guy. Like, super genuine, super nice, very smart. Can't compliment this store enough.
Hope he can make it down to the NorCal meetup. That'd be cool.
Yeah. Well, he's not actually from Seattle. He flew to the Seattle meetup from, I don't know where he is, some other state that isn't Washington or California. But yeah, would be cool.
Awesome. Let's move on to some interest checks. We got GMK Graphite here.
Okay.
Looks like they got compatibility.
That's a key set.
That's a key set. They got the
it's a trap.
the American way with the R, the rose, just like we like them.
America. Is this the key? Is this the keycap equivalent of like freedom units?
Yes. I guess so. It's gotta be. Like, we also have the standard enters, right? Like ANSI keyboards. It's like, oh, America. And I know they use it elsewhere, but it's definitely.
I know, yeah, a lot of people told me, like, from Europe, like, yeah, I used to use, like, Spanish ISO or this ISO or this ISO. I just switched to ANSI so I can buy key sets and use them. I'm like, good, you should. Has your life gotten worse? No, not so.
Yeah, it's the only international standard that America gets to win on, so, like, give them the one.
Oh, God.
No, it's true.
I know. Anyways, this key set is kind of right up my alley. It's very dull and subdued, and as usual, I mean that in a good way. I dig that the accents are like white. Basically, that's really neat.
I'm not liking what No Chance. I mean, I'm agreeing with No Chance RPG in chat. There's no. Actually, no. There's no. He said no bard. Oh, never mind. I'm all about them scoops. I'm okay if there's no bard.
Yeah, I see the scoops.
Yeah, I'm all about the scoops. He's complaining there's no bard F and J, which is a very fair complaint for a modern GMK set because different keystrokes for different folks.
Well, yeah, it's very true. But this is also an interest check, so
yeah. So if you're interested,
keep that in mind.
Give him some feedback. Give him some feedback.
I don't like the tilde.
There's going to be an accent kit as well for the mods in Spacebar.
Why don't you like the tilde key?
It's so wavy.
Is that not normal?
It's bigger than the other. It's bigger than, like, everything else.
Okay. I would never use that key anyways. I would use escape there because I use 60% keyboards. But maybe it's just a render abnormality. I assume if this is GMK, which it is, then it's probably the same as every other GMK set when it comes to the actual finished legends.
I would hope so.
Yeah.
But the blue stick is wonderful.
Out of nowhere, GMK just starts doing big ass tildes. They're just like, screw you guys.
They just take out the tick and it's just a giant tilde.
Oh man.
They're like, no one will know.
I like the idea of like GMK just doing stupid stuff like that and just like seeing how far they can get away with it.
Also, I don't know if this is also just the renders, but like all the like function keys and command keys are like weirdly centered in the keycap, right? And
Yeah.
I get bugged by like inconsistent location of fonts on a key throughout a keyboard.
Yeah, that's fair. Is this actually an official GMK render? I don't see the watermark
does not
on it,
look
so
like
it's
it.
probably not.
Maybe they took out the GMK side thing, but it does not look like a, as far as I can tell.
Yeah, this might just be someone else's render.
Because GMK
in
always
kind of-
sends it as a PNG with a transparent background.
Yeah, and they have like a little watermark there,
And they have the
something that
stats
should
on the side that
help us.
show you which color codes they're using.
Yeah, so this is definitely not an official GMK render. Once we get that, it'll probably look a little bit different, and we'll probably have connected legends.
Let's
More true to
move
GMK.
Speaking of legends and people who have interesting legends, interest check for Maxkeys Calm Depths. This is bound to happen eventually, right?
Calm depths. Cam derps.
BRB 1 minute while you talk about this, Brian.
Oh, okay. So it looks like user Guess Who's Black, which is a great username, by the way. that's really fantastic. Wants to run a Maxkeys version of Calm Depths, otherwise known as Clam Derps.
That's awesome.
It looks like the set will be $90, and does Huey have this up on the screen? I really hope he does. He kind of does. Okay. It looks like there's actually some semblance of compatibility here, which is cool. Normally with Maxkeys, you get a relatively bare-bones set that doesn't really cover a lot of the slightly more abnormal layouts that people like myself and other enthusiasts like to use. But here you get quite a bit of compatibility, which is nice. It looks like the price is going to be $90. Says you will be invoiced for exactly $90. I assume that's US dollars, though he doesn't actually say. His grammar is not very good here, which makes the post a little bit more unsettling. It says he is looking for an Asian proxy and a UK proxy. And the MOQ will be $300. So $90. $90 is actually a pretty good price here for this kind of compatibility, especially if this is also using the corrected legends that all Maxkeys sets should be using now, as of whatever that last set was that got the molds for them. I'm not a big fan of Clam Derps personally, but a lot of people are. For years, it's been one of the rarest and most sought-after SA sets in the community, so maybe a lot of people are going to jump on this, or maybe they just wanted it because it was rare. What do you think about the set, Huey?
I mean, I'm not a fan personally because it's one SA and two a worse version of Sky Dolch in terms of colors. I remember
It's
at one point the actual, SA Calm Depths went on eBay for like $800 and sold. I was like,
That was one of those like elite level key sets when I was newer to the community.
This one and Hacked by Geeks were like such sought after.
And at that point, Carbon, the first round of Carbon, was also like an $800 key set on Neck Market or something. It's absolutely outrageous. You know what this reminds me of is Ocean Dolch. or Ocean Dolch reminds me of this, because I guess I don't know which colorway is actually older, but it kind of has that like inverted Sky Dolch thing going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I posted a photo for it of Comdepths in chat of one of like those other really high tier keyboard photos.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah. Ooh, with that lip text low profile case, not too shabby.
Yeah.
Too shabby.
That's a solid camera work. But anyways, whether you like the set or not, if the legends are fixed and they keep this decent compatibility, I don't think $90 is an unreasonable price. I think that's pretty darn fair.
Pretty fair. Very good price for this.
Yeah. He doesn't really say anything about shipping, which kind of sucks.
Yeah. Assume $10.
Yeah, something.
Unless you're
like
international, then you can assume 100. Assuming this person's in the U.S. as well. I don't know.
$90 key set, $120 shipping.
Okay, well, that is Maxkeys Calm Depths. Another one in interest check. Moving on, we have GMK Doom by Caps Unlocked. It's just black and gray and black and gray.
Yeah, I mean it looks like they kind of took the same approach as they did with. Wait, was it Caps Unlocked that did Terminal, or was that
no? That's
someone
the key
else?
company.
Oh, okay. Okay, well then, totally ignore what I was about to say. But very, very simple key set. It looks fine. It looks like a key set. I don't know, man.
I think it's
so many key sets these days. It's hard to be excited for any of them. To be,
I don't think there'll be enough contrast in this.
You think this is going to suffer like Chronicler suffered?
Yeah, I think so.
It's very possible.
Contrast is important, guys. PSA.
If you don't think it's important, look up SA Chronicler. That's why it's important.
Look at the shirts that Huey and I are wearing.
Yeah.
Yeah, contrast obviously important. I'm not too excited about this key set personally.
I think it'd be
really
better if there were,
even
if they were pad printed, but if they were pad printed sub legends that were like something bright.
Yeah, something. Yeah, maybe slightly brighter legends, and then some even brighter sub legends.
That's how I'd go with.
I think we're kind of just okay. So this key set is
shooting
really
darts now everywhere, huh?
This key set is really basic. I mean, I'm not hating on it, but it's basically two colors. And like, I think we're kind of past the point in this community where we can do two-colored key sets. That's kind of just like done. Not that they're bad. That's just like they're just kind of done because everyone is designing key sets these days and coming up with like so many more like wild and crazy things. And simple is good, but a lot of them are just kind of already been done. And it's hard to get actually excited over something like this, if I'm being perfectly honest.
The hype is not real.
Yeah, and maybe that's just me personally, but I don't think it is.
But speaking of
three colors is really hard. It's like an order of magnitude more complex than two colors.
And that's why all the more popular colorways do have more than two colors, because there's a lot more effort that goes into designing it, and that's why, you know, a lot of the sets that actually do become popular, they take a lot of effort to actually design and make and produce. Whereas something like this, it's just like, I don't know.
So on one hand, I agree with you, but I'd like to take this a step further and think about like Coca-Cola and Pepsi's logos for a second. I think Coca-Cola has a better logo just because it's just got like the red and white, like classic white text on a red background, and it's super like authentic and beautiful looking. The Pepsi one's pretty cool too, where it's got blue, white, and red, and they did a really good job pairing the colors together, but I just feel like the Coca-Cola one romances you more, and it's just two colors. So I don't know, it has to do with like a lot of things outside of just the quantity of colors, and complex is much harder, and I don't know, most people do like simpler things at the end of the day. Like, that's part of why the older school muted things like IBM Model M style with just different colors of beige with black, are just timeless and they look really great. And so it's not like a necessity, but I totally agree with you. Doing 3 colors and pairing them all so that they work together is just an objectively cool thing and should be encouraged. But I would by no means allow that to influence my appreciation of a keycap set.
No, for sure. And I'm not saying the set's bad. I own 2-color sets too. I have Stormtrooper. I have things like 9009 that are, you know, classic beige and black. They're not exciting by today's standards, but they are, like you said, timeless. But this set doesn't seem like a timeless set to me.
Yeah.
This just seems like 2 colors, and that's it. And we have so many 2-color sets already on the market, some that are more timeless, and this just kind of feels a little flat in comparison.
100% agreement. I in no way am like a huge fan of this set. I kind of like the black that they picked, and that's where my support ends.
So,
yeah.
In the end, I guess for all of us, this is as flat as a day-old soda. And unfortunately, the hype is not real. But speaking of things the hype is real for, I just want to do a super quick shout-out to the Tokyo Meetup. Huzzah. Shout out just because, you know, Vector is one of the homies, as the cool kids would say. And he's doing a meetup in Roppongi. The third one in Tokyo. Tokyo Coffee Nerd, I believe, might still be in chat, might not be, but he was at the beginning. He helped run the first one. I believe he was also going to be helping again, maybe. All the details are on screen. Brian posted the link, so check it out. There's going to be talks. There's going to be a raffle. There's possibly going to be an after party. Vector put a smiley face when he said after party, so you know it's going to be lit.
If you guys don't know Vector, this guy is the party animal. Nobody parties like keyboard nerds, right? Or something?
That's true, though.
Yeah.
We're people, too.
So, if you're able to attend, I'd definitely recommend RSVPing as soon as possible because they're only limited to 45 participants, unfortunately. So, make sure you get in in advance. I hate using 2 words to the same words. There's a way to
get
avoid
in advance. Yeah, okay.
Attend RSVP in advance. But shout out to Vector, shout out to Tokyo Meetup. Meet there if you can. So Brian, what's this article on Tom's Hardware? What's happening over here?
Okay, so this is something I saw yesterday, and I thought it was kind of interesting. So, Razer being the
meme.
I don't.
In this community,
I don't even know where I'm going with that. But Razer has essentially invented new switches in the past. Not necessarily new switch technology, but they did release their own spec'd Razer branded switches via a different OEM. And it looks like they're doing something similar here, but this time they're using optical switches. So if you look at this first picture, it's a very strange design compared to what we're used to seeing. There's kind of like a little metal hook mechanism that I imagine is supposed to keep the stem there, sturdy, and able to be pressed. So Razer is joining the optical game here, which is kind of cool. Whether you like or dislike Razer, it's still nice to see innovation for the sake of innovation and people pushing the boundaries here a little bit. And not a ton of other keyboard manufacturers are doing optical keyboards. The problem with this, what I've gathered from the article, is that they're not supporting analog immediately. They say they want to get the fundamentals of the switch as perfect as they want them to be before they start messing with something like analog input and things of that nature. Which to me I thought was kind of strange, because why use an optical switch if not for that kind of analog capacity?
Longevity. They can last longer.
That was an argument brought up, but at the same time, that's not why people are going to buy these switches. That's not why you and I are buying these switches.
So I'll give you an example of probably why. A big part of why is most of to truly take advantage of analog requires 3 main problem points, I guess. So one, the switch has to do analog stuff, right? 2, the firmware on the keyboard has to do analog stuff. And lastly, whatever application you're using has to do analog stuff.
That's the big
You
one.
can't just like assume them all to work. And there's not that many applications that can take advantage of it well. Jacob with the Kailh is one of the few people that's made firmware that can like really do analog, and it's not finished yet. It's just like a work in progress. But we're designing around analog with all the firmware for all of our keyboards, and it's really hard. It's not a trivial endeavor, and so I'm in no way surprised that Razer was like, we want to do something cool that gets people to buy things, and we'll figure out how to do a firmware update and software update later. That's just not even surprising.
Yeah. But I mean, on the same vein, think about it from this view, and you kind of touched on this a little bit, but as an average consumer, why would you buy this Switch that does not have analog capacity right now? Why would you buy this keyboard?
Razer released it.
Because of RGB, Brian. They're obviously going to have RGB in this keyboard, and I need to be on top of... Okay, Brian, did you know I have an RGB light bulb now in this lamp?
Yeah, I did not know that, actually.
It's changing colors. You can see my face. RGB,
wow.
guys. Look at me go. Back to white.
I mean, as someone that really appreciates Switches and likes trying new things, I definitely want to try them, but I can't see the average Joe CSGO player being like, oh my god, I have to have this keyboard because of these Switches, even though no analog. It just seems like kind of a weird thing. I almost think it would just make more sense just to wait until they finished, you know, it's where they want to be and they finish the analog feature at least, and then launch it all together. To me, that seems like a bigger sell, because then you'll actually have a reason to use these switches aside from their normal Razer or Cherry switches, instead of just being like, they last longer, even though all these MX switches that we use are still like 30 years old or 40 years old or whatever at this point. Like, I use vintage blacks from the 80s and stuff too. Like, I don't care that this lasts 50 years, you know, I don't care about that. So I just think it's a hard sell for them if they're going to launch this soon without any kind of additional features over what a normal
I don't
piece
even
of
think
is.
it'll feel good unless they like put like extra lube on those like little side things. So those are like extra moving parts that make contact now. Instead of like just using a spring and having, you know, in the casing like other people, they have these, you know, these things that will squeak.
The metal hook is really surprising to me. I wonder if that's their finished design, because like a stabilizer,
because they already have a spring.
A lot of that rattle that you get from a stabilizer is because of the wire, like the tolerances between the wire and the plastic insert, and where it can freely move around a little bit in there. So if the tolerances aren't like mega precise on these could be rattlier switches too, kind of like the same way your stabilizer.
And these are going to be smaller than like stabilizers, so the tolerances have to be tighter, which I don't believe they can do.
Yeah, it's a very interesting step from Razer, but I mean, I hope it works out for them, I guess. It's something, if nothing else. Always something.
Yeah. But that
What do you think about this, Andrew? I know you touched on it a little bit already, but what do you think about the Switch in general?
So optical is a path towards analog, and analog is the future, is my gut feel.
Okay.
I'm proud of Razer for pushing the industry forward, and that's like something they should be doing. So I'm not going to hate on them for trying to do something cool. It does feel rushed, for sure, like no doubt, but they're like, this is a sign. Like they had the Wooting keyboard launch pretty recently, and they're actually shipping, I believe. Is that correct?
Could be.
I think so, yeah. I think that already concluded, so it's probably shipping in the near future, if it hasn't already.
Yeah. So they clearly saw that people are interested in such a thing, and Switch innovation needs to happen. And so every time anyone that makes a lot of keyboards innovates on Switches, even if they're rushing it out of the fence, like, I feel like it's good for everyone, because it's American to have options, and they have imbued us with this power.
Yes.
Fair enough. All right, you heard it here first, folks. Razer is doing good things.
So they're going down a good path. I don't know if this will be a good thing.
Yeah.
But it's
we'll have to wait and see.
This doesn't even have to be good for it to be an objectively good thing.
That's true, because Razer is great at not making good things, but they make a lot of things, and at least they're using their money on changing things, which is what I'd prefer. Hopefully these aren't as bad as when other companies try to branch out with switches, like Romer G or Mechmechanical switches.
That was a dumb one. The Romer G's actually, its innovation is they put the LED in the middle, and I'm okay with that. That's kind of cool. Like, I wish they'd done a better job, so I do kind of feel like this fits in the same space as a Romer G. But who knows? Maybe they feel awesome. We'll get some advanced samples, and we'll test them, and we'll find out.
Yeah.
For sure. Alrighty then.
Okay.
What else we got here? Oh, okay. Yeah, so the Mechmini 2 from Maxkeys.ca, our good buddy Dave, up in the Canada, has extended the group buy for this until Sunday, this coming Sunday. So you have a couple more days left to order. Yeah, basically just wanted to shout that out real quick because he, if he sells a few more of these, there's a chance that he'll have one to give away on Top Clack, and that would obviously be very cool. So definitely be supporting this store, and the price is good here. The options are good. Don't forget that the dollar amount isn't Canadian, so you U.S. people will actually be spending less than the listed dollar amount. And also, they're past 50 orders now, so he's giving away a set of SA Hyperfuse with one of the kits, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, he is.
So, very, very cool stuff. Make sure to check this out and buy one of these if you like it. The design is pretty nice. IMO, as far as 40% go. Alright. Here's one that I found really interesting yesterday. Lunarisdream, popular group buy runner and community veteran.
Should I play this?
No, don't play it.
Is it too long? I haven't seen it yet.
It's like 7 minutes or something. Okay. So basically, it's a video update of where he has been. So for those that weren't in the know, he is currently running a ZZ96 and a Tricc75 group buy, both fairly high-end keyboards, and you know they're not super cheap. He has been running group buys for a while, but during this one, he took a pretty serious leave of absence, and like he was kind of just off the grid, like just didn't talk to anyone, just completely cut off for an extended period of time, and people were getting sad and scared and confused and angry and upset, and admittedly so. The video kind of touches on where he was and why he was not really on the grid, and the TLDR is basically he was back in the States living with his parents for a little bit, and his parents were upset that his grades weren't as good as they should be, and part of that was because keyboards and video games, so they decided to remove his internet and phone and stuff like that and his connection to this kind of world and community, which is very unfortunate when you're running a group buy with many thousands of dollars on the line of other people's money. But he's a veteran. He's been around for a while. He's run tons of GBs, and as a person, he is pretty trustworthy, from what I've seen. So he is coming back, and he is making sure that he will ship all the stuff that people need. He is on his way back to China, like right now, as far as I'm aware, if he's not there already, and that's where he normally lives. So he will be back in the world, and he's not Ivaning. So there's that. If you want to get more detailed information, definitely watch the video. But if you're part of those group buys, then don't worry, because they will be finishing.
Cool.
All right, Huey.
Beans. Oh right. So I have some stickers. So some of you guys might know I make like really like weeby like stickers on both like keyboard stuff and
really weeby is like an understatement.
So I do have all my old designs. So for MX Blue Switch, these are shiny because they're still in the shrink wrap. Brown Switch, black Switch, clear, red. I also have my V1 and V2 of everyone's favorite fuck linear switches. I still need to work on some more Switch stickers. I need to work on Halos in the future as well once they release in production.
Can I get a fuck tactile sticker?
Yeah, sure.
Can that be a thing too?
Yeah, that can be. I can do fuck tactile, fuck clicky, I can do all of it. And then I have 4 new designs actually. So one of them, I'll open them since these are kind of hard to see with these lights. So
are you showing off any of your new designs?
So these are my new designs. This is posted a while ago on Reddit. Actually, it's all these linear switches stabbing a Zeal switch, and it's straight from it's straight from Julius Caesar. If no one's ever read plays or anything, beware the Ides of Linear instead of the Ides of March. Et tu linears is the other quote. Let's see. I have a new V2 for the red switch. I only had time to work on one, so I just chose one of the best females in anime, IMO, because of her assets.
Are you an anime fan, Andrew? I get the feeling you're not.
I am actually. Are
you?
Fan.
Oh, fantastic!
Yes.
Fantastic.
So I have a new red switch.
Sign me up for one of those, please.
Okay, and then I guess okay. I have the MX Bloomy switch that everyone really liked. These are back in stock.
I can see why that's a popular one.
The other one you can't really see in my current lighting because it's very bright. But
probably should show the other one.
I won't show the other one on stream. I won't show the other one. But yeah, all my stickers are back in stock. I will be at the end after the Q&A or during the Q&A. I'll be giving away 3 stickers, and then the rest will be on sale on Mech Market probably sometime later tonight. We'll be shipping out this weekend. Yay! I'll also have great pictures of all of them. So let's get to it, I guess.
The Q&A.
The Q&A.
Andrew.
Yes.
So, last time we asked you if you preferred waffles or pancakes.
Yes.
Has your opinion changed, and how would the addition of French toast change your mind?
I'm the one who suggested that, and it's still French toast.
Oh, that's right, yes. Very good, very good.
So, French toast, for sure, and
got it.
Yeah, it's delicious.
Huey, we need a better question to ask returning guests, so we don't just get, let's say, waffle versus pancake.
You should ask
between Brian and myself, who would you rather be stuck on a desert island with?
Oh, that's a good question that we should be asking all these guests.
I suppose the key answer is: are you going to be rescued at some point, or are you just stuck permanently?
Maybe you don't know. Maybe that's part of the fun.
Brian, you have more body mass.
Oh yeah, I'm quite a bit larger than Huey.
Yeah. So I'd probably lose in a fight. So for sure, Huey.
Fair enough.
That's very fair. That's very fair.
I like Huey. Huey did a solo episode a couple weeks back where that was like a question for him, and he had to choose between me and Vector, and his answer was like me, because obviously I know how to find food.
And the follow up to that was because Brian knows how to find food and eat. Wouldn't you be worried, Huey, if you guys couldn't find food that Brian would cannibalize me? And I told chat this is truth. If it came to that situation, trust me, Brian would be in a worse situation than me. I would get hungry far before Brian does.
Yeah, I can live off my fat for a while. Anyways, Q&A going on now. If you have questions, ask them in the chat, and we will get to them. If you have questions for any of the 3 of us, be sure to let us know. Digisack says, on a cold island, Brian would be better for warmth. That's true. I'm naturally always insanely warm. I actually hate it. It drives me nuts. Even during the winter, I'm way too warm. But I guess if we're standing on a desert island and it's like super duper cold, that's a selling point for me.
Mm-hmm. Let's see.
All right.
What questions do we have?
None. Nobody wants to ask questions.
But everyone likes talking about French toast sticks. And
Yeah,
Bug
they
Whisperer
were
says
restricted.
Dutch baby. That's a food item you don't see very often.
what is a Dutch
I love
baby?
Dutch babies, and because of that, I'm looking up a fancier version of a Dutch baby for them.
It's kind of like a pancake in a way, but like you make it in like a cast iron skillet and it kind of like puffs up. It's a bit lighter. Usually garnished with stuff like lemon and powdered sugar, stuff like that. I think you could probably even stuff them, but it's kind of an obscure breakfast item you don't really see very often.
Interesting.
They have it at the original Pancake House. They're delicious.
Oh, nice, very nice. LOL Shecky asks me if I have any pictures of myself in six-pack form. So for those of you that don't know, I actually used to be like a really prominent martial artist, and I was like in really good shape. Like I had like a six-pack at one point, and I was just like cut, lean. I looked very good, and then I completely let myself go and stopped practicing, and I gained like 100 pounds.
Keyboard sounding.
And here I am. This was when I was much younger. This was like 8 or 9 years ago. I don't know if I have any pictures on me, but I might be able to. I'll try to find some, but no promises because I didn't really take a lot of pictures back then. That was kind of before smartphones were also a thing. Like camera phones were just kind of emerging. So probably going to be tough, but I might have like a Polaroid pic of myself or something somewhere. We'll see. What is the best linear switch and why is it vintage blacks? Alright, you're getting banned.
It's just Adam. We've banned him before.
Probably not going to talk about vintage blacks too much for a while since we talked about them at length last episode. Jace the Poop Scooper asks, when is Kira coming?
Okay, we haven't made one yet, so I have no
Morning.
update.
Fair enough. Well,
We are trying to
coffee-
make one right now.
okay. Well, there you go. That's your answer.
You get a real update when we make one, because then I'll like come on the show and hold it, and you'll be like, "Oh, that looks awesome! I want one of those," and then I'll give you a timeline.
Fair enough. That's pretty good. Pretty good. Kemba Sitter asks, when might we be able to get loose Halo switches? That's the question on lots of people's minds.
We're having fun with Massdrop on that. I can't go into any details on it, but they have very strong opinions on what we do with those switches, and so we have to resolve them. And when I have more updates, I'll provide more updates, but it's not the easiest situation to navigate right now.
Fair enough. Zgreb asks, our thoughts on the new KBDFans Arabic Enjoy PBT set. Actually, I was looking at that the other day, and it looks fantastic. I love it.
does.
Definitely getting it. Zgreb, if you want to post a link of that in the chat for other people to see, definitely do that, or someone else can post a link so other people can see it. I took a look at it yesterday, and it looks... I'm a big fan of Enjoy PBT. I think it's very good value for the price, and I'm all about sub-legends, so it's kind of nice to see something that isn't Cyrillic or Hangul or Japanese. Not that any of those are bad, I like them all, but it's kind of nice to see something different a little bit too. So Arabic looked very cool as sub-legends. IMO. Meloditz asks, so with Kailh switches becoming so much more popular, has there been any word on Kailh switch openers? They can be a pain in the ass to open. Really? I mean, obviously you can't open them from the top because that's just how they're designed. You just can't. But from the bottom, I find them easier to open than MX switches, the other MX switches, by a wide margin.
I think people just don't like them because you can't use the MK tool, and when you use your fingers, it's annoying. But if you have tweezers, they're fine.
Yeah, like I use like a really thin, like tiny flathead with my toolkit, and like I just pry up one side and I pry up the other. It's
Yeah,
I can open a Kailh switch noticeably faster than I can.
So the only issue, in my opinion, people have is when you pop open the sides of the Kailh switch, if you open one side too much, you're gonna lock the other side too hard in if you do that.
I haven't had that problem
So when you
yet.
lift one of the sides, just lift it a little bit so it's just out of the tab. If you lift it too far up, you'll jam the other tab too far in. That's just issue.
Yeah, I don't lift it too far, so I haven't experienced that quite yet. HHKB for Life asks, did you get the Revo 60% with the pottery coating? So I believe he's talking about the Revo 1 that ran on mass drop for only a couple days.
It's $160. It was like
a 4-day drop. It was $155, free shipping to the US. It's a 60% tray style case. Came in 3 colors, which were very interestingly named. There was Heaven, Earth, and Human.
Yes.
Which was blue, white, and like
pink.
A flesh-like pink, respectively. Very odd. One thing I thought was very strange was just the duration of the group buy. It was like literally a 4-day group buy. It launched and like they didn't even really talk about it in like any of the emails, and it was just like 4 days and it was done.
We didn't even have enough time to like have it be a top Clack topic because it was here and gone.
It couldn't. I added it to the doc, and then I looked at the timeline, and I was like, it's going to be done several days before our next episode. So, very strange. But I actually did get one. I got the white version. So, they are enamel-coated, so it doesn't have the limitations of coloring that anodizing has. So, the white version is actually like more of a true white color, instead of more like a cream, like the micro arc treatment seems to be, or like a light silver, like anodization seems to turn out when you try to do white. So I will be getting one of those. Very cool. I'm a big fan of that style of case and the fact that it came in white.
I got one as well.
The blue case looks awesome.
Yeah, the blue is awesome. I got mine in human, in pink color.
Oh, you got one? I didn't even know.
Yeah, I got one. It's gonna be probably instead of the E6 board. I mean, I have like a day left for the E6, and I'm still kind of about that situation. But yeah, I got the human color because I'm like, dang, that's a nice pink color. I really liked it.
It does. All the colors look nice, but
I
don't know if I want to own the pink just because it's called human. Something about that makes me like really, really uncomfortable.
It's not like there's no Soylent Green of keyboards, so it's okay.
It's such an odd thing. I know it's like, I think it's like a Chinese, like some kind of Chinese reference. Like it's not supposed to be like a strange thing. For Americans, it's just weird to call a color human.
But I already have it planned out. I mean, I'm gonna get a brass plate for it. And then I don't know what switches I'm going to get, but for keycaps, I'm going to put on GMK KA 2017, so I will be set.
Huey, you should totally make t-shirts that say Soylent Green is keyboards. I feel like that should be a thing. I would wear one of those.
LOL Shecky asks, black versus gray versus silver with classic beige key set. Oh, I see. So, like, what color of case with
black,
a classic beige key set?
All those look great, actually.
Yeah, all those are great, but I'm a big fan of the silver, personally. Silver, then gray, then black. If I'm using a classic beige key set.
Yeah.
But none of them are the wrong answer, so. Yeah, no. Why haven't we seen more keyboards based on the Cherry ASIC that allowed for full key input / full N key rollover like the MX 6.0 board? I am not smart enough to touch on that topic.
Probably because...
Jacob.
Okay, go on.
Yeah, Jacob knows a lot about it. It's a cool implementation of it. The short is they aren't super sharing, I guess. If Cherry wanted to make it really available, we would. Yeah, they patented it, and they're not like letting people access it. So if they approached us and were like, hey, InputClub, we'd like to put our stuff on a keyboard and make it open source, you'd see it real fast. But I don't think they currently are all about that. So, yeah.
Yeah. Riddick 1991 asks, can a high-profile white fox be a thing?
Possibly. Not this year. But just so you know, and so high-profile means multiple things, right? Like, there's the high-profile case, and there's also, was the white fox designed around high-profile switches? The answer is yes. Mateo actually changed a whole bunch of stuff and like standard heights, and we actually lowered the thickness of the case just because he put SA keycaps on his white fox when he was testing it, and he felt like it was too tall and was awkward on his wrists. And so we had to find a way to thin the case a little bit so that it would be compatible with SA keycaps, and that would feel nice to type on. And I don't know if you've looked at the back of the white fox, but the cutout for the USB port kind of like just has a gap and it's just open, and that was done for this reason, to make it compatible with high-profile keycaps. But for the case, yeah, we can look into it next year. High-profile makes it more challenging to do cool things like have interchangeable plates, but it's not impossible. So it's definitely, if people are really interested in it, we can explore it.
Okay. Awesome. Good stuff. Me and Huey like hearing about high-profile cases.
Yes.
Mystery Knock asks, what is the best GMK set and why is it hyperfuse? It's not. It's like 9009. It's like Nautilus. It's like Solarized Dark. Actually, I think I'm like the only person in existence that prefers the hyperfuse redo, or redux, depending on how you want to pronounce it. I like that more than the other GMK hyperfuse. I'm that guy.
I think you were.
I'm that weirdo, which is fine. I like being individual. That's what being a hipster is like. HHKB for Life asks, what is a fair price for an SKCM Blue Alps donor board on eBay? Are they hard to remove from the plate without breaking the plastic switch tabs? So when you desolder Alps, what you do is you make sure you desolder them well. And instead of pulling the switches out of the PCB and plate, you pull the PCB off of the plate and switches, and then you just push them out from the bottom of the plate. So much easier than trying to pull the switches out individually, which is just always such a nightmare on specific Alps boards. As far as what's a fair price to pay, I don't even know, man. I hear some people are paying like $2, $3, $4 a switch for SKCM Blues. I wouldn't pay that much. I would say $1 a switch is probably a lot more fair. But I mean, obviously, sometimes you're going to strike gold on eBay, and sometimes you're not. If it's worth it to you, that's what matters.
So speaking of price, I have an interesting comment/interjection to add.
Okay.
We work pretty closely with Angelo, who's Ubersibes and Thesis Camper. He does a lot of the renders for the whole community. Oh, yeah. And he designed a cool keycap set, which is Troubled Minds. And we've been talking about high prices for keycap sets, and he actually just pinged me saying that someone just sold a set of Troubled Minds for $800, which is like a lot of money for a keycap set. And now they're reselling it for $950.
Wow.
Which is now like in the ridiculous territory. And Angelo's like a super good friend of ours. I'm curious because he asked me to inquire. What do like people think of sets like Troubled Minds? Is like it's a lot more out there, but I'm just curious what the general opinion is of kind of the crazy, very specific, rare key sets and like what people think about those.
What's interesting is I'm going to be totally honest here. I was under the impression that Troubled Minds was not that popular a key set. It went through like a really quick phase of like everybody wanting it and a lot of people buying it, and it sold for like a retail price. I think it was in stock, like not just a group buy, but I think it was in stock at one of the retailers, like maybe Originative or something, and they just sold it for like 180 or something like that, and a lot of people were buying it, but it had it's 15 minutes of fame, but then I thought everyone just kind of forgot about it. I haven't heard anyone talk about Troubled Minds, or I've even seen a picture of Troubled Minds in a lot of months. So I wasn't really under the impression that it was a really rare in-demand key set these days, but that's very interesting to hear. Obviously, I don't like really inflated prices. That's me. Obviously, it's a rare item and it's in demand, so supply and demand, we have that law. I don't know. I'm not in love with the key set. I think it's a neat key set, and I like the theme, but the colors aren't really for me. It's a little bit too out there for my personal taste.
I actually don't mind the colors, but I don't like the theme. I wish they kept the same colors, but the creator was an anime fan and did Evangelion Unit 01 accents instead of Batman the Joker. That's all. That's the only thing I'd change. and of course make it GMK, not SA.
I had no idea that people were selling that key set for so much. I don't peruse Mech Market or classifieds very often these days anymore, but I definitely haven't seen that lately.
Mm-hmm. So
very interesting.
As you know, Angelo, who designed that set, is also the designer on Kira.
Mm-hmm.
And so we work really closely with him, and we talk to him all the time. And so, yeah, I just was talking with him about it, and he was like, "What is going on with Troubled Minds? I don't understand." And I was like, "Oh, well, I'll ask the next time I'm on Top Clack, because I am not the right person to answer that question."
Yeah. I mean, I guess it kind of makes sense. We've seen the same thing with Carbon SA Round 1, with Calm Depths, with Hacked by Geeks. I mean, they all have their really quick time and fame, and then they're just a limited amount of sets, and then they become popular, and they hit that rare category.
Oh, yeah.
I guess if people are paying $800 for it, more power to them.
I've had so many offers for my GMK TA typewriter. It did horrible when it ran on a mass drop. They had They had to extend the drop. They had to extend the drop so it could meet MOQ. That's how close it was to not making it.
And the price was pretty low. Like, that was like $120 or $150 key set.
plus shipping, which was completely
fine. And at the time, that was like 2 years ago. That was really cheap for a GMK set.
Yeah.
And like nobody wanted it. And all of a sudden, it just like came back into fashion, and everybody's paying like tons of money for it now. So I think most key sets, if they've ever been like popular in some capacity, that just kind of happens with key sets. One person does it, and then another person wants it, and then they post it, and like a bunch of other people are like, "Oh, hey, I see that now, and I do want that work, and I find it," and all of a sudden, key sets double and triple and quadruple in price.
So, speaking of things that will quadruple in price, hopefully, just want to do a quick shout out. We'll talk about my stickers later, but I just made the album an imager. So I couldn't show the last picture because Brian knows why. But when I post the album, everyone will be like, "Oh, duh, that's why." So let me post the album. That's the album to the stickers I will be selling tonight through until I sell out. You guys want to look through the album. There'll be one picture where you'll be like, "Oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense."
There's more than one. These are great, though.
Right?
So they'll be on sale tonight. They're $5 each, $1 shipping CONUS, $2 shipping international. Ships anywhere in the world via standard envelope.
Yeah. Getting back to a couple questions real quick. Morning Coffee asks, is there a good starter kit for soldering iron and other tools to assemble a key? Pudsey did reply stating the Weller WLC 1000, which is a pretty nice entry-level starter one. I would add on to that the AOU 937, I think it is also roughly in that price point.
We have a handy recommended soldering products guide on the Input Club site.
Oh my gosh, why don't you link that, Andrew?
Well, you can go find it on Input Club. But the Hacko 888D was my first good soldering iron, and I was always just very stubborn and would build keyboards with terrible soldering irons because I'm an idiot. And I swear to God, I know it's expensive, and we do blow a lot of money on on this hobby. But like a real soldering iron changes everything, and you should probably get one if you're into keyboards, and just invest in one and do it. And like, there's other steps too, like being able to have a solder sucker or copper wick so that you can fix a mistake that you've made is a extraordinarily useful idea, because you will make mistakes like all the time, and being able to fix it is really hard when you only have a soldering iron. So just keep that in mind. And also, it's not as hard as people make it out to be. You basically, I mean, it's a hot stick that lets you form electrical joints.
Yeah. One thing, so this is a good question for a lot of reasons, actually. So I see posts on RMK pretty regularly where people ask the same question. They're like, hey, I need a soldering iron to build a keyboard. What do I get? And the comment section explodes with Hako F888D, or whatever it's called, which, don't get me wrong, is a very fine soldering iron, but it's $80 to $100. And if you're building one keyboard with a value of $100, you don't want to spend $100 on a soldering iron. You need something budget. So if you go in with like a Hako soldering iron like that, like, it's nice, but it's also an investment. Don't buy it if you're building one keyboard, and one keyboard only ever. You buy it because you're going to be building several keyboards, and you want a good, consistent product throughout this experience. But that drives me nuts, because I hate when people recommend $100 products to build a $100 product. Like, if I'm just building like a really cheap budget keyboard, like that's all I'm ever going to build, I'm not going to spend $100 on it. And not everyone has $100 to spend on something like that. So definitely there are much cheaper options that may not perform as well, but will work just well enough for your one budget keyboard build. So that's what I'm going to say on that.
And there are guides on there too. And if you don't know how to solder, or it's like your first time soldering, Gene put together a series of White Fox guides where he basically just like uses the White Fox as a guide on how to solder. So it's almost like a video build guide. Let me see if I can find where to link these. But they're on the InputClub YouTube channel, and like a lot of people use them, and they're just he's one of the masters of soldering. Like, he designs the PCBs for us, for all of the PCBs that go on all of our keyboards are designed by him. And he put together this video on, like, here's a beginner's guide to soldering using a White Fox as an example. And so you can kind of watch it, and they're a bit long. There's 3 parts to it, and one deals with like putting LEDs on it. And so in total, it's roughly 30 minutes or so. But he goes over a bunch of best practices and a bunch of like what you do to build a keyboard. So if you've never built one before and you're kind of intimidated by it, I recommend watching a video and just going through it before you order all the stuff, or to encourage yourself to order all the stuff, because creating electronics is cool. It's not as hard as you think, and it changes how you think about products if you build one. So, yeah.
Very true. Yep. ZGrab asks all of us, what GMK sets are y'all looking forward to? Nautilus and Solarized Dark for me. I think those are my 2 big ones.
For me, KA 2017 and Classic Retro.
Very nice.
I want a Triumph Adler set. I never got one. I want one. So I'm going to get one.
They're not that hard to find these days.
Yeah, there's a lot of them sold.
I see them go for like around $100 on Mech Market every now and then.
I will find one.
I'll find one for you.
Excellent.
We'll get this done. I think we are caught up on questions. Lots of conversation going on in chat, which is awesome. but it does make it a little bit harder to
I
filter.
like this one. Have you ever used 2 French toasts or 2 waffles and use them as bread for a sandwich?
Yeah, that's like for sure on a to-do list, and I'm going to do it and take a picture of it.
Whoa,
that seems like a
whoa,
great
hold on.
idea.
A pancake sandwich.
Are you talking about the question that Kemba Sitter asks?
Yeah.
Have you ever French toasted a waffle?
French toasted. You said, have you ever
Okay,
French
yeah.
toasted 2 waffles and use them as bread? Oh, I thought you meant like use either one as. No, I haven't. But I mean,
So that
French
would be
toasted a waffle is like the weirdest sounding thing to me.
so.
I would
I want
probably
I want to tell you about. So I don't know how familiar you guys are with sandwiches. I clearly am very familiar, but one of my like ranking sandwiches for a breakfast place of like if I've never been there before and I want to find out if they can do something cool. If they have a Monte Cristo on the menu, I'll always order it because I'm fat and I love Monte Cristos.
Oh my goodness!
And
I too am fat and like them.
yes,
Oh
but that's like it's like French toast with jam and ham and turkey and like powdered sugar.
And like Swiss usually.
Yeah,
Yes,
Swiss cheese.
So
cheese.
good, so good.
Little syrup on the side. It's fantastic.
Yeah. So if you made one of those basically with waffles instead, I feel like that would just be delicious. So now I'm going to do it.
Yeah, I feel like French toasting a waffle is going to be tough though, because like a waffle is already like cooked, it's already crisp, and so then what? Then you batter
Double
it.
crispy, man.
Then you batter it, and then you do it in a cast iron skillet or something. I don't know, man. This sounds really ambitious, but I'm curious to see it work out.
Hey, Top Clack food episode.
Yeah, I might undercook the waffle so that it's like a little bit floppy, and that way I could re-dip it in the thing, and it'd be more like willing to absorb the egg covering.
Yeah. Because that's like the whole point of like a good French toast is something that's like you use like stale like challah bread or something, and like it's just like it's like it's dry and it just soaks up all that goodness, and that's how you get that like custard like internal toast.
Brian, I think you just solved the problem. I have the idea. Here's what you do: you take challah bread, you soak it in the egg, and then you just cook it. You put it in a waffle iron.
Okay.
And use the waffle iron to make the French toast, because challah is malleable enough it'll get formed by the waffle iron.
Okay, I like this.
Yeah.
What's funny is I have a breakfast place, like a pretty popular strictly breakfast place in my city, and they do biscuits and gravy, but for the biscuits they make it like a little bit of a lighter batter, and they do it in a waffle iron. So it's like waffle biscuits and gravy, and it's really, really cool. I hate to trail off on breakfast though. I could talk about food forever.
Yeah.
Morning Coffee says there was a Triumph Adler set on Mech Market today for 120. There you go.
Well,
that's a start.
I'll have to do some looking. I haven't been looking hard enough.
Yeah, you don't really strike me as the type of guy that spends all day browsing Mech Market.
I do actually.
Oh, do you?
I have feeds that pop up whenever any one of our things sell, just so that I can get a little perk and see what market rate is for the products.
Oh, that is smart.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't buy that much. And Gene, who is Parak, actually has a huge series of like RSS feeds and inbound sources for all keyboards anywhere, like on eBay, Mech Market, wherever, and literally suggests in our private IRC at least a keyboard every single day that we should add to the giant keyboard horde at the Input Club office. And so now we have to be over 600 ridiculous keyboards just because random keyboards get added. So if you have a really cool, rare, historical keyboard with a unique switch or something, you should let us know, because we'll probably just buy it from you.
I cannot wait to get to San Jose and check out this keyboard collection.
We're gonna have so much fun, Brian. I'll show you the sites. I'll show you everything.
Have you seen the White Fox Kickstarter video, by the way?
I think I watched it at one point.
Okay, so my friend Katie, who I'm going to try and convince, she's the young lady who's in the video, when the scenes with her are there, there's these shelves that go all the way up to the ceiling filled with white boxes. and those are literally all carefully organized keyboards. So the backdrop of the White Fox video is just keyboards, and that's just one wall.
Yeah, Hot Dog gave us a bit of a tour when we had him on the show of his collection. He kind of just pointed the camera at stuff and was like,
Yeah.
"Here's hundreds of keyboards, and here's more hundreds of keyboards." It was like,
I have an announcement on his behalf as well. He wants to do a live stream sometime in the next week or so, and I'll post more updates on it on like Twitter and Facebook, of him just like live streaming doing a crazy teardown of a cool rare historical keyboard, just so that you can see kind of like what he looks for, because he's got 600 of these things that range in like quality. Like he has some that he found that were very clearly submerged in a swamp, and he had to like clean the swamp out of a keyboard. And like every time someone posts these horror photos of Cheetos or like hair in a keyboard while they're cleaning it, I'm like,
nothing.
Yeah, nothing. This has got a swamp. And so I don't know what keyboard he's doing yet. He'll make that announcement at some point, but he'll probably do a really cool full teardown of something that's really novel and interesting that we just haven't seen before and has some unique aspect to it. And it'll be live streamed, so it'll be cool. It's the first time he's ever done this, so I think it should be fun.
Do we have a timeline for that? I'd love to watch it.
Sometime in the next week or two, and I'll post updates.
Awesome.
Cool. Yeah, let us know.
Yeah.
All right, looks like that's it for the questions, though. We should probably wrap up here. Coming up on that 2-hour mark, or we're over that, I think, already.
We are at 2:07.
It's been fun. Thank you for having me.
It's oh yes, it's always a good time. We like having you because you're not afraid to talk. that's always a good quality to have at a talk show guest.
To everyone in chat, in case you're wondering why we didn't run the intro, it's the same reason we're not running the outro, which is also the same reason that we are late today. I reformatted my computer like just the other day, and I totally like forgot before today to like install OBS like an idiot. So like before stream, I was literally installing OBS at like 5:45.
At like Mach 10 speed.
At Mach 10 speed, arranging everything. That's why there's no MIA box for Bektor's position or even like his name text. That's fine for like the news section that wasn't our names in the bottom. Yeah, so hot dog's a sandwich. Really?
Dude, I have an entire post on it. Don't worry, I got this one.
Come on, guys. Come on.
Like, don't be an amateur.
A taco is also a sandwich. I'm pretty sure Alton Brown agrees that a taco is a sandwich, and if he says it is, then it is.
I wrote up a blog post earlier this year. It's just a complete smackdown to anyone who disagrees with it, and you can just read it. I think I posted. So,
is that on this same site, onesandwich.com?
Yeah.
Fantastic. I can't wait to look through this website later. I have it tabbed. I have it like saved. Fantastic. All right, Huey, take us out.
So, once again, thank you everyone in chat for watching another great episode of Top Clack. Once again, our viewership numbers have really like kicked up these last few episodes, Ryan.
Yeah, it's all slowly but surely really going up.
Thank you everyone so much. Andrew, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
You guys were wonderful. So everyone, November 11th is going to be the NorCal Meetup. Brian will be there. I will be there. Unfortunately, Bektor will not because Japan's a bit far. Andrew will be there. Hot Saw will be there. We'll have the Input Club crew there. Top Clack crew there. It'll be great. What else? Down below, you can see all of our social media and etc. 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 If you like to follow. If you like what we're doing, oh yeah, we have a giveaway too. Totally forgot about that. Let's do a giveaway, guys.
Oh yeah. Okay. But if you do like what we do have a Patreon where you can donate and help us support the stuff we do that makes Top Clack great.
Yes.
There are a lot of kind of like back-end costs, like running the Podbean account and shipping prizes to people and stuff like that. So, I mean, it's not always free for us, unfortunately. So, donating to our Patreon definitely helps us out quite a bit.
We also, it's not down below yet, and I'll do this will be a soft announcement. We'll have an official post, Top Clack post on Reddit when it's more official. But there is a Top Clack website now that has nothing on it right now, other than like Top
But
Clack.
we have the domain.
But we have a domain.
Yeah.
Topclack.net. So, but in the future we'll be. What are we working on? We're working on stickers. Unveil anything else yet, Brian? Or are we gonna save the salty surprise?
I don't think it's really a secret anymore. We're working on shirts too. I think we've touched on that in the past. So we are working on some shirts, and of course we'll have a couple of those to give away.
There'll be Top Clack shirts. There'll be a cool Top Clack logo. I mean,
yep.
I'm trying to advocate putting our faces on.
We'll have to see what kind of price we can do for that. T-shirts aren't the cheapest thing in the world, so it'd be nice. That's why we have Patreon. People can help us out, etc. Anyways, I digress. T-shirts are coming. Stickers already kind of here, and more coming. So lots of changes in Top Clack. Make sure you're here for our 1-year anniversary next month. That's gonna be something you won't want to miss.
It's not even like next month. It's like in 3 weeks now, right? Three weeks.
Three,
1,
three,
2,
three-ish.
3. No, 3 to 4, depending on
Like
scheduling. Yeah. So I guess it's about a month still. So it's time for this giveaway or Rooney before.
Wait, before you do the giveaway.
Yes.
I want to encourage everyone to go join their Patreon. It's really easy. I literally just did it for them.
Yay!
It took them to finish explaining it. So there's no reason not to, especially if you like the program.
It is very simple, and we definitely appreciate it. Thank you, Andrew.
Anyhow,
You're the best.
Thank you. So, you guys might have seen the album. I'll be raffling away stickers. The winners can choose one of any of the stickers I have in stock, which they're all in stock.
Do you have the Crytox ones on hand?
I do have the Crytox ones on hand.
Oh, yeah.
Andrew needs one of those.
I'll make sure one gets your way. I'll make sure one gets your way. So, let's get this giveaway going.
Right, are we doing it the same way we typically do?
Which way? Should we do you have a quiz question in mind?
How are you giving them away? Is what I'm asking.
Any way works. I have no preference in how these are given. If you can think of a quiz question, actually, Andrew, is there any bit of Input Club trivia you want to quiz the audience on that people can find out but might not know about Input Club?
What's the first Input Club keyboard?
There you go, chat. First one to where Andrew says that's the correct answer will win a sticker.
Come on, guys. It shouldn't be that hard.
No! Not the Ergodox. Oh, Arcan Tox 22 is number 1.
With the Infinity. The Infinity is 60%? Is that what it is?
Infinity is what it was called originally. We did add the 60% later.
Yeah. What size was the original Infinity?
60%, man. Some dude just drew a picture of a layout that he thought was the HHKB3, and I put it in a poll when I was working at Massdrop, and a zillion people voted for it, and I was drinking with Jacob, and we were like, well, why not? We should make keyboards.
You know what I liked about the Infinity 60%? That sweet blue and light blue and white DSA set with the world novelties on it.
Yeah.
I love that key set.
That was a good key set, yeah.
So, the only reason why that hasn't been remade? I forgot about it. 2, the designer is actually Jake Obulus, who made that really cool, side profile of all the different keycap profiles.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and nice.
He had a kid and has been less active in the community. And yeah, he's an awesome dude. We may even fool him into coming to the meetup in November, and then we can be like, hey, send me the damn design files so we can bring this back.
Yeah, I would buy a full launch of that key set. That'd be great.
Yeah, basically that Earth there, the whole reason that's there is because we just said mankind has been to the moon, so it can't be that hard to make a stupid keyboard. And that's the entire reason why it happened that way. And we were like, let's put the plate that is on the moon that Neil Armstrong left there on a keyboard. And then we made a keyboard, and then, yeah, that's how it'll happen.
Awesome backstory knowledge.
Yeah!
All right, Huey, we got 2 more to give away, correct?
Yes. We should probably just not ask any Top Clack trivia until our anniversary episode. We should
correct
pile all of it, right?
How about I got one.
Okay. Sandwich trivia.
Oh.
That could be good too.
I mean, one of you two would have to think of a good question for sandwich trivia.
I have a question for it.
Go for it.
There you go.
Okay. What country invented the first sandwich thing?
No Chance RPG is obviously an Alton Brown Good Eats viewer.
And that's not a country. And it's China, Megaforce. China invented everything is the short answer.
Megaforce wins something?
I know, right?
That's uncommon. Oh man, that's funny.
He knows where to find Megaforce. Yeah, Adam, just PM. You know where to find me. I know if it's you if you PM me.
Earl of Sandwich.
Not a country.
Weeb sticker. And for any of the winners, if you do want to buy additional ones when I have my sale, let me know in your post so I can just not charge you shipping and ship all of them at once for you. B-dubs.
Yeah. All right, we got one more. Do we make it another sandwich question? I'm like trying to think of like what I get. I have one, but it might be too easy. I'm not really sure.
I mean, it's a giveaway. It doesn't matter how easy it is, right? I can just do random for the last one then.
Just random it, yeah.
Okay. Random for the last one. And the winner is... Oh yeah, so anyone interested in joining the last giveaway, say something in chat within the next 1 minute.
Alright, you guys got 1 minute to enter. Say anything in the chat.
We got 24 entrants now. 27.
I need weeb stickers.
Those weeb
By the way,
stickers, pretty legit.
For your next giveaway, I do have a question for you to ask. Well, I don't know if this is a question. This is more of just a general question. Is like, what is your favorite term for a keyboard enthusiast? Because I recently was introduced to the term Kiaboo, and I think it's hilarious.
Kiaboo,
it's my favorite one.
What? I haven't heard that yet.
Kiaboo?
It's like weeaboo for keyboards.
I thought, okay.
It's the best one.
I've seen it, but I thought it was like a Korean weeaboo or something. I didn't realize it was keyboard related.
I'm okay with it being
Koreaboo is for Korean weebs.
Koreaboo, okay.
Kiaboo is for keyboard weebs. And then, of course, we have our normal weeaboo for us.
Bug Whisper shortens it a little bit to Keebweeb, which I'm a fan of.
I'm a weeb with a keeb. I have a song about that.
Yeah. I'm probably like 20 views of that video.
I know, right? You're probably the majority of
it's fantastic. The lyrics are just so great.
I need to do a better version with better audio. Justin Kieber. I love that.
That's pretty good.
That's pretty good.
Oh, you guys are great. Okay, it's time for... I can put this in chat because of the delay. It is time. Who's the
Justin
one
Kieber
out of 27?
Alright. Sauron,
hey!
2202.
He's the next person in chat, too.
Woo!
He says, I've been called a keyboard pervert. Fantastic.
Well, I guess we'll do our exits once again. Thank you, everyone, so much for watching Top Clack. Blah, blah, blah. Things on the bottom. Thank you, Brian, for joining us. Andrew, of course, thank you so much. Can't wait to see you again when you hopefully have a Night Fox or a Kira in hand. That will be amazing. And we also look forward to more sandwich fun facts as well as Hot Dog's future stream. Everyone who's watching, thank you so much for watching. If you're interested in buying any of my stickers, they'll be on sale in probably like half an hour after I finish doing this Reddit post and, you know, eat dinner and whatnot. Yeah, so how can you get in first? I just keep your eye out on Mech Market. I'll post when I go live. I'll post on Discord and Slacks and whatever. So have a nice night, everyone. See you next week at 6 p.m. for our next episode of Top Clack, which next week we will be having another sticker enthusiast join us, which is Dixie Merch. And we'll see him and the rest of you all next week. Take care, everyone.
Bye.